Hello, my name is Ainne Aisyah Nadzir from University College of Aviation, Malaysia. In this presentation, I will be sharing my doctoral research entitled The Preflight Blues, a Phenomenology on Cabin Crew Mental Health and Well-Being. This study explores an unspoken emotional state experienced by cabin crew in the period before reporting for duty. It is a phenomenon that cabin crew themselves informally refer to as preflight blues. While existing research has examined stress, fatigue, and burnout in aviation, far less attention has been given to the anticipatory emotional experience that occurs before a flight begins. Pre-flight blues can be compared to concepts such as Monday blues, Sunday scaries, or anticipatory anxiety. However, these comparisons only partially capture the experience of cabin crew whose working lives are shaped by irregular rosters, emotional labor demands, and prolonged separation from personal support systems. The problem is that pre-flight emotional unease remains largely unrecognized in academic literature and organizational policy. Cabin crew emotions are often misunderstood due to the idealized image of the profession, and there are currently no airline wellness frameworks that explicitly address this pre-duty emotional state. As a result, many crew members come to normalize, minimize, or silence their experiences. It is also important to address a common assumption often raised in response to cabin crew stress. Why choose this job if it is emotionally demanding? This view assumes that individuals fully understand the realities of a profession before entering it. In practice, much of the work environment only becomes visible once one is immersed in it. Recruitment narratives tend to emphasize travel, service, and prestige, while the cumulative emotional strain, interpersonal challenges, and anticipatory distress remain largely unseen. For many cabin crew, pre-flight blues develop gradually as they encounter the lived realities of the role over time. Methodologically, this study adopted a hermeneutic phenomenology approach grounded in a constructivist ontology and interpretivist epistemology. Data were collected from 12 active cabin crew working in full-service airlines in Southeast Asia through pre-interview prompt, qualifying surveys, semi-structured interviews, and written artifacts such as diary entries. Although pre-flight blues may resemble Monday blues or Sunday scaries, they are experienced under very different conditions. Ground-based workers usually retain access to family, friends, familiar routines, and immediate coping mechanisms. Cabin crew, in contrast, anticipate periods of physical and emotional disconnection while on board, working in confined spaces under constant observation and expected to regulate emotions without access to their usual social and emotional anchors. This anticipated separation adds a distinct layer to pre-flight blues, making it a context-specific experience shaped by the unique conditions of aviation labor. This understanding aligns closely with emotional labor theory by Hoshio in 1983, where workers are required not only to perform tasks, but also to manage and suppress emotions in ways that meet organizational expectations, often at personal emotional cost. Of these, 10 participants strongly related to the experience of pre-flight blues, while 2 did not. These contrast cases were retained deliberately as they helped illuminate the boundaries, variability, and meaning-making surrounding the phenomenon rather than serving as exceptions to be excluded. Data were analyzed using thematic analysis, supported by within-case and cross-case interpretation, allowing patterns to emerge while preserving individual context. The findings show that among the majority of participants, pre-flight blues can be understood as a recurring psychological and physiological state of anticipatory stress, emerging hours to days before a scheduled flight. Participants described emotional heaviness, overthinking, sleep disturbance, nausea, trembling, and anxiety among some. Notably, these feelings often intensified prior to reporting time and subsided once on-board duties began, with most participants maintaining professional performance in flight. This further emphasizes the pre in pre-flight blues. Key triggers included toxic crew dynamics, leadership styles, separation from loved ones, caregiving guilt, and personal circumstances. Coping strategies ranged from emotional regulation and rationalization to withdrawal, humor, social media venting, and in some cases calling in sick for temporary relief. 2 unique cases revealed the potential severity of the phenomenon, including disclosures of suicidal ideation and prolonged workplace bullying. Most participants did not formally report these experiences, reflecting a broader culture of silence within cabin crew communities. In conclusion, this study contributes a contextualized, interpretive understanding of emotional labor in aviation by naming and defining pre-flight blues as a legitimate lived experience. Recognizing this phenomenon allows organizations to move beyond individual blame and toward more compassionate, psychologically informed workplace practices. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.